LinkedIn made some major video announcements. We're going to get into what those announcements are and how they will affect you as a founder growing your personal brand. If you have no idea who I am, my name is Shanae Murray. I have almost 1 million followers on LinkedIn, over 275,000 LinkedIn newsletter subscribers, and I help founders grow their personal brand strategically on the LinkedIn platform. So let's go over first the 3 more technical updates, why this just reinforces the fact that you should 100% be focused on doing more short video and getting better at the craft on LinkedIn. And then we'll get into the 5 things that they advise that we do as people who are marketing ourselves on LinkedIn in 2025. There are 3 things that they have updated more on the technical design UI part of the LinkedIn short video experience. When you go into your analytics for the video, you can actually see video average watch time. So you see a little thumbnail of yourself with the brief intro of the video. You see how many impressions you got on the video, the number of members that are reached, and then average watch time. The second thing that they have done is that they have added a new full screen experience for desktop. This is, I think, major because a lot of people who are on the platform, especially those who also may market themselves on the platform or do business on the platform, they may be using LinkedIn on a desktop. And the beta feed of the TikTok style video only feed with vertical shorts was previously only available on the phone. Now it's also available, as you can see here, on the desktop. We rolled out a full screen experience on mobile this summer, but now that magic is coming to desktop. Also, the discoverability is expanding now when members use search to learn more about a specific topic. This is kind of hidden in here, but I think this is huge because let's say I want to learn about LinkedIn newsletter strategy. If I go on LinkedIn, now some of the posts that are going to be shared with me when I'm searching for things are not just necessarily text posts or other people's profiles, but they are going to be short videos, which is huge, which means that if you are not creating short videos on LinkedIn, you are now reducing your ability to be suggested when your prospects or potential referring partners are searching for someone with your expertise. So they'll see relevant videos related to that topic in a swipeable carousel. I think that that is huge. Pro tip. And this tip is more for someone who is already creating videos, already knows what it takes to add the captions, maybe do some video edits. But when someone sees your videos in the carousel, what will happen is someone will search for something, a carousel of videos related to that topic will pop up. And so naturally, those videos are a little bit smaller. They start to automatically play. When they start to automatically play, there's no sound. If you really want a viewer to understand what your video is about, we've tested this with a few clients now, you will actually put what you're talking about in the video in a still frame right at the beginning. If I'm doing a video on how to start your LinkedIn newsletter, in the corner or in the middle, somewhere on that screen, it may say, how to start LinkedIn newsletter or start your LinkedIn newsletter, so that when it automatically starts to play on silent, someone will know what that video is about instead of having to click into each of the videos in the carousel and then figure out what it is about. For those of you who have grown your brand on LinkedIn, who are consistent, you have an advantage here because if I'm shown in a carousel with 3 other people that may just be starting, someone who has seen my videos before or has gone to like the upcoming live 4-day masterclass, go register at yougrow.club, and they enjoyed it, they may be more likely to click mine instead of just someone else's that they've never seen before because they don't know if they're going to get value from that 5 to 10 seconds. LinkedIn is truly doubling down on short form video. And again, if you're not on this feed, you will not be served up as a suggested person or expert in whatever topic it is that they're looking for. And you will also just not exist on the LinkedIn video beta feed, and they will not click on your profile. And then maybe one of your competitors does, and you lose market share. Don't underestimate the power of this. Let's navigate our way to the second part of the big announcements today when it comes to LinkedIn video. LinkedIn announced the 5 things that you should do if you are creating content on LinkedIn and building your personal brand. When a platform changes their design towards things, when a platform is like, this is probably what you should do and focus on, I always heed their advice and listen. This was published under the official LinkedIn Guide to Creating Newsletter. The start of the year is the perfect time to breathe new life into your LinkedIn content. Whether you're refining your profile, exploring new creative ideas, or setting yourself up to meet your 2025 goals, small updates can drive big results. So basically, these are the small updates that could potentially give you the most leverage and the biggest results in the least amount of time on LinkedIn. So number 1, refresh your about section. I always tell people, especially we cover this in the upcoming 4-day live masterclass, everyone will tell you that the first step to growing on LinkedIn is to optimize your profile. You can't be more wrong than that, because you can't optimize your profile without really understanding who it is that you're looking to attract on LinkedIn. You can't really understand who it is that you're trying to attract without understanding the one thing that we want to accomplish on the platform. What is the one goal that we're trying to achieve within the next 90 days or the next 6 months or the next 12 months? That one goal will really affect who it is that you're trying to attract, where you lead them to, and will really affect what you do on your profile to optimize it for the right person. Now, once you do understand those things, it could be kind of technical or a little bit boring to then refresh your about section. And so I've just created a tool to make it a lot easier for you. It's a custom GPT that I've trained. You answer a few questions and then it will output 2 versions of your about section. So one version is from a first person's perspective, like, hey, I'm a LinkedIn coach. This is what I've achieved. This is what I've helped others do. Go here. Or a more formal third person perspective, like, Shanae Murray is the founder of growthacademy.global. I'm just going to click here to start. What's your first name? Shanae. What's your last name? Put in my last name. Great. Where do you want people to go after they visit your LinkedIn profile? This is something that you should already know and that should really be aligned with your goal and who you're looking to attract. It really depends how your business is set up. So in my case, I'm going to say, go to yougrow.club. And it's okay if you don't have a website or a landing page. Many of the clients that I start working with don't have one yet. Next, who do you want to attract on LinkedIn? So I'm going to say founders who want to build their personal brands with video and live video on LinkedIn. And obviously, I'm doing this for the sake of time. I'm not adding very granular details. Ideally, you want to add as many details as possible. So I could have added around what revenue is their business doing a year? How big is their team? Perfect. You're targeting founders. Okay. What is the first problem you help your clients solve? So I'm going to say, start hosting consistent LinkedIn live video events. Now tell me about a time you helped a client. So because I have helped so many people at this point, I can think of case studies. Maria Malik, she grew 2K to 100K followers, 5.5 months. But let's just say I couldn't share Maria's name, and you should definitely go follow and connect with Maria, by the way. If I couldn't, I could just say executive speaking coach or speaking coach with a group program who wanted to fill the group program. So you don't always have to share the name, but you can share the result in that way. So that's the first one. Tell me about another one. Philip added 24K MRR with daily LinkedIn video and daily newsletters for 30 days, had 30K followers, and had only relied on outbound until that point. Now, have you written a book or have you spoken at any fancy events like a TED Talk? I'm going to say no. No problem. Have you received any major awards or recognition? You could just say no, or you could say yes. Have you ever been on boards? either nonprofit or for profit. Why did you start your business? Now, for the sake of time, again, I'll put in what I would call my origin story, but really just be honest. Like, how did you start? And what's the name of your business? And then that's it. It'll give you two versions of the about section. So this is the more personal version, like, hey, I'm a founder. I'm a proud mom of a human, two dogs, and a cat. That's true. My journey into business wasn't planned. Okay. It goes into a little bit of my story. So it'll go into credibility and achievements. Here's how I could help you. Some of my client results. This is where to go next. So this is the personal version where it's first person. And I think that's really good. That's better than the one I have now, by the way. I'm going to probably copy and paste this one into my about section. And then this one is more authoritative third person. So Shanae is the founder of growthacademy.global, a personal branding strategist and LinkedIn growth expert. So that's the first thing. Is the simplest thing you could do, especially with this tool that I've created for you, is to update your about section, because it will help you answer questions that your prospects are going to have. And I think that what we have to understand is how people even get to your profile in the first place and the function of your profile. The function of your profile is to tell people who you are, whether you can help them or not, the problems you solve, why you're better than your competitors, the results that you've helped other people achieve, and where they can go next or what they need to do next to learn more or potentially learn how to work with you. And if you're not really answering these questions for people that do land on your profile, then I'd say that it's not fulfilling its function the way that it should be. The second thing that is suggested is to start to repurpose your top performing posts. This is an especially great tip for you if you have yet to take video seriously, but you have started to do text posts, let's say within the last 30 or 60 days on LinkedIn. And I do see this recurring pattern a lot. In fact, I see this with founders who maybe are doing between 1 to 3 million. They know that LinkedIn probably has their highest ticket clients. They start to treat it almost like X or Instagram. They post a bunch of images with long form text. They may be getting a bunch of impressions, but nothing is really happening in terms of conversion and clients. And one of the first things that I tell those founders is you need to start posting video, short form video, as well as hosting a weekly or a monthly LinkedIn live video event, because that will put the necessary fuel to the conversion fire, especially if that is your goal. Don't fall into the trap that you need to always create something new. It's very important that if you're going to start creating on this platform, every week or every other week, you're looking at outliers. So you're looking at how many impressions did you get, what posts got you the most impressions or the most engagement, and try to analyze why. It may be the style, it may be the topic, but there will be patterns where you'll start to identify, oh, they want me to talk about this more, and then you can. To do this is pretty simple. You could also turn a video with the description that you have into a text post or a newsletter. This is one of my outlier videos that I have posted recently. I'm talking about to stand out in 2025, consistency will not be enough. It's a very long text description. What I can do is I could literally just copy this and I could repost it as a text post, or I could click write article and then I could publish it as a newsletter. Obviously, if I'm going to do this, I would add detail, add the subheaders, the headers, all of that. But I know that this post got a lot of engagement and that people really liked it. And that is not a coincidence. So I also see that as well, where there's a lot of founders that will fall into the trap of, oh, that was a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Your audience is telling you, we want you to do more of this. I could also take what I was talking about in this video, which is you need to up level the quality of your content, but also need to start going live. And I could have a whole live video on this topic that will also break down what you need to do to prepare your first live LinkedIn video event. So there are different ways that you could repurpose your top performing posts. The third thing that LinkedIn suggests that we really start to do if we want to win with our content strategy on LinkedIn in 2025 is to also start to experiment with new formats. You want to step out of your usual routine, and this is very important. I always tell people as you're growing your personal brand, you want to really see yourself as a diamond. A diamond has very many different sides, facets. It looks different in different light. You are many different people when you really think of it. We think that we have one identity when that's not necessarily true. I act different at 7:30 in the morning, hugging my daughter right before she goes to school, or maybe even picking her up at 2 p.m. I'm in mom mode versus CEO mode when I'm closing a deal or doing something related to operations versus creator mode when I'm going live, engaging with the community. So we have different sides of ourselves. And a lot of people only show, myself included, I need to show more sides of myself. So don't be afraid, especially in 2025, to show different sides of yourself on LinkedIn. Short form video is a great place for you to play with different formats, different topics, different things unrelated to what it is that you sell. Because remember, they're scrolling and then curiosity will take them to your profile. Then they'll see maybe your live videos or your newsletters on specifically what it is that you do. They'll understand your expertise, who you serve, whether they could be a client, whether they could refer a friend to you, buy your profile. So your content on the feed, the short form video, should actually not always be about what it is that you sell directly. I won't get into the whole balance of that. We'll talk about that balance in the upcoming challenge. You can register for that at yougrow.club, and it's really for you if you're a founder who wants to grow their personal brand on LinkedIn. How can you experiment with new formats or new things in terms of your content? I'll show you one example, and this was just from this weekend, where I usually do AI tutorials or more serious face to camera videos. And in this one, I just put my idea of fun. I didn't show my face, it's just my hand, and I'm showing some garden. You never know. There's probably a CEO out there that likes to garden. They see my other videos, then they see this one. Now it's just one more feather on the stack of, oh, when that timing is right and they decide between me and somebody else, they may choose me because they remember this gardening video, the fact that I have dogs, that I replied to their comment, whatever. You never know. Start to play more, start to have more fun with the type of formats that you're sharing. You could start talking about new things, new topics, new environments. So if you're always doing a video in an office, go outside. If you're doing videos and you're more laissez-faire, you look laid back, maybe do a video when you're at a networking event or going into a big meeting. You're wearing a suit, you look different, different hairstyles. I know the other day I wore a ponytail. And I love ponytails. I just don't wear them often because they give me headaches because I have so much hair. But, that got attention because I usually don't wear ponytails, those type of things. And new video style. If you usually shoot selfie videos, maybe do a video where someone is taking a video of you where both of your arms and hands are in the video. If you're always doing short videos, try double the length. You get the point. The fourth thing that LinkedIn suggests that we start to do in 2025 in our content is share your story. I work with my clients on this, on crafting their origin story, so to speak. Even if you have shared your story prior, for example, for myself, I could do a video this week, and I think I actually will, saying, hey, it's 2025. I have new people following me. Maybe you've never heard my story before. And here's my story. Some of the people that have heard it before, maybe it refreshes their memory. Maybe it gets me on other podcasts. Maybe for the first time, somebody hears that story and they really resonate with it. I inspire them to start doing video. You want to have a story that answers questions for people. And the questions should be, what has this person overcome to get to where they are today? Where were you? What were the challenges that you overcame to get to where you are today? And that should answer the question, why do you care so much about what it is that you do? There's a story behind that. It's not a coincidence that you chose to get into the type of business that you're in. They should know that. And one of the most prominent examples that I have, and we helped her with her origin story, is Maria Malik. She shared how she was forced into an arranged marriage at 17 years old, and that basically robbed her of being able to use her voice. And because of that experience, she now takes being an executive speaking coach so seriously because she wants to help other professionals use their voice. When you just hear that short version of it, you understand, oh, from this person's story, I totally get why they devote their life to being a public speaking coach or an executive speaking coach and helping others use their voice. If I don't understand what it is that you do and why you do it and why you're devoting your life to it, then maybe you haven't shared your story. And then you can make it a challenge for yourself also within your content to always have a little bit of a story, because that's what's going to differentiate your video versus someone else that could just chat GPT or Google some tips and then just share them through a script, looking at the camera and being a performer. I'll give you an example. I could share a short form video saying, hey, these are the 3 tips to grow on LinkedIn on video as a founder. Or I could start to add more of my personal story in it. I could say, to grow on LinkedIn, the first 3 things had nothing to do with LinkedIn. So the first thing was I knew that I wanted different for myself. And at the time, I was only getting clients through pitching people in the DMs. I hated cold outreach. I would look at all these big people like Tony Robbins and be like, how are his clients excited to want to work with him? That's what I want to recreate for myself. And so the second thing was that I was aware that if I did not do anything other than cold outreach, I was going to have to either A, do that forever, or B, there was going to be a grave risk of me not enjoying this so much that I would stop doing it. I would stop getting clients, and then I'd have to go back to a job. And I did not want that either, because I wanted to be in time with my daughter. And so 3, because I wanted new results, I was willing to do something scary. So in late 2018, I grabbed my phone for the first time ever, even as an introvert, an extreme introvert, with my hands shaking and my voice shaking. I filmed my first video on LinkedIn and I published it. So this is very different than 3 steps to start on LinkedIn. We have to always infuse our stories into even the short videos. And this is something that I rarely see these days. And that is absolutely critical for you to do, because soon, if you don't do it, I don't know if you're just reading a script or if you're real. Also, the transcript that I would give from the 3 tips to grow on LinkedIn, anyone could have said that, ChatGPT could have said that, whatever. If I were to repurpose that transcript, it really doesn't get me anywhere. It doesn't really build that emotional affinity, building a community. It doesn't get me remembered. It doesn't give me leverage or a real advantage when it comes to brand. The 5th thing that LinkedIn advises that we do is engage differently. And obviously, engaging differently really depends on what you're doing now. If you're not engaging at all, maybe the first challenge for yourself is to engage on 5 people's posts daily. Don't do some chat GBT engagement because people are sick of it. It's one of the most frequent complaints that I get is, how do I stop people that are obviously commenting with bots to stop commenting on my profile? And the only real answer is to block them. Think of what you do to engage and then do something a little bit different. Engage with different people, maybe have more fun with the comments, maybe be a little bit more curious and always ask a question at the end of a comment. That's something that I highly recommend, is just genuine curiosity and ending with a question. The other thing that they advise is maybe publish polls, because it's interactive. So you could really start a conversation. Most of the polls that are going to get the most engagement for you probably have nothing to do with what it is that you sell. I put, how many times do you lift weights per week? I started to prioritize weight training after I had my daughter. And again, after I read Peter Attia's book, where he painted the picture that at 75 or 80 years old, I probably wouldn't be able to open a jar or can by myself if I didn't start weight training now. And that's extremely scary. Imagine you're like 80 years old. You're trying to open a jar and you can't because your hands are shaking. Maybe nobody is with you and you can't open the jar. So after that, I started prioritizing weight training immediately after I read that in that book. And then here it's 0, 1, 2, 3. And what was interesting is that a lot of people were like, no, 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 I do more than 3. And they started commenting. So as you can see, 5 to 7. They started sharing their workouts and what they do. It really started an opportunity for people to also connect with one another. And I made some great connections actually from this poll. Don't be afraid to have fun. People think that other people on LinkedIn, no matter their title, are like cyborg robots that don't like to have any fun. At the end of the day, they're human and they do like to have fun, make friends, engage with each other. You can also start to go live. Let's say if you're always doing an educational live, maybe you do a Q&A live. If you're afraid that you're going to show up live and there's not going to be any questions, either face that fear and just sit there for an hour until you get a question and awkwardly sit there, or you could get questions that people have asked you from that week and say, hey, these are the top 5 questions that I got asked this week, and I'm going to start answering them one at a time. Taking it up a notch, if you're already doing your own live video events and posting on LinkedIn, you can start to interview others on your live video. And this is actually something that they mention in the article, which is very important because they're kind of telling you, hey, you should probably invite someone on your live. If you were to invite someone and interview them on your live video, if they also created content on LinkedIn and did live video, you could actually stream to both of your profiles at the same time. You could also leverage your LinkedIn growth by being intentional about growing your following and then saying, hey, I have this many followers on LinkedIn. I can share your interview with this many newsletter subscribers and you'll get interviews very easily. I actually have a new client. Because of his growth on LinkedIn, he's been able to get in front of other people in his niche, other people with very big YouTube channels and podcasts, and has even done now in-person podcast interviews because they have seen him on LinkedIn. So he's literally leveraging LinkedIn visibility to get in front of the perfect prospects of these hosts, which then have led to big leads for him. And his LTV is over 100K. So it's already working. One caveat here is I see a lot of people getting trapped into what I call the interview trap, which is now every time they go live, they have to interview somebody. And sometimes what happens is then they stop getting clients because they're always putting the spotlight on the other person. Unless you have a proven process and unless you have proven data that always interviewing people leads to business for you, then what you do is you try to maintain 3 out of every 4 live video events of you doing one solo. When you look into the future of AI, what's coming, what's already here that people are very unaware of, it is a huge way for you to differentiate and get ahead of the curve. If you haven't heard, Gary Vee is now screaming at everyone to go live. When he's telling you to get on live, and this is something that I've been saying for about a year now, I have videos on YouTube saying go live about a year back. It's because it's the next blue ocean. If these platforms are like, hey, do short form, there's going to be more of your competitors that will do short form video, and you will have to get better to stand out on that feed. But how many of your competitors are hosting an engaging LinkedIn live event at least once a month? And the answer is probably 0.